In today's episode, getting into mass deportations and the border, getting into what does it mean to be a part of Trump's new golden age, the good, the bad, and the potentially super dystopian, and pre-crime, and wherever else our free thoughts take us. Well, let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. Welcome to the Matt Kim podcast. I am your host, Matt Kim, joined by my co-host, Mr. Peter Saddington. We are.
I didn't say anything. I love you, Matt, so much, and I love the Free Thinker Army so much. Welcome, everybody. Smash the like button. Glad you're here. My heart goes out to you, brother.
Happy Wednesday, happy Thursday. I think it's going to be Wednesday. Oh, and by the way, that means for most of East Asia,
Lunar.
it is New Year's. So happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone.
And I heard that the Chinese are trying to take back, because it used to be called Chinese New Year.
China.
And then the rest of East Asia is like, no, wait a second. It's our New Year too. And then it became Lunar New Year.
Mm-hmm.
And then in China, like, no, we don't do this woke bullshit.
Yeah.
You can't call it Lunar New Year. We're Chinese. We want to call it Chinese New Year. And I'm thinking, wait, I'm not Chinese. Why do I call it Chinese New Year? You guys didn't invent this shit. So
we should probably just call it New Year's.
So in Korea, literally it's 설날, which means New Year.
Yep, that's right.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah. 새해 복 많이 받으세요.
Yes. Dude. And welcome to everyone. Before I start, smash the like button, leave a comment, help out the algorithm. We are fighting the machine every day.
We went like this. We went, and then we're here again. We are blocked. We are totally blocked, guys. They have cut off the water stream.
We are just shadow boxing.
Seriously.
So
we don't even know who we're fighting sometimes, most of the time.
Nobody knows. How do you beat an enemy if you don't even know who the enemy is?
We don't know.
This is like the problem of everyone's life. And everyone's okay, we know who it is. We knew it too.
It's those little black boxes on the Tengu. It's the Tengu. The Japanese demon Tengu.
So leave a comment. Let us know. Let us know that you're here. Appreciate you guys. And before you do anything, hit a pause. Go to the share button. Text it. At least text it to yourself.
Yes. And hit the like button and leave a comment. We have to get out of this purgatory that we're in again.
That's the only way this grows is if the community helps out. And everyone that does engage on a regular basis, appreciate you guys. Also, jump into the Discord. Come hang out. It's a lot of fun. People are wilding out in there.
Wiling out.
It's a good time.
The opinions are very vast and very full of variety and color. Let's put it that way.
So today, I want to talk about the mass deportations that are going on. Day one of President Trump's presidency, he said, we are going to shut down the border and we're going to do the largest deportation ever in the history of the country.
That's true. Cue American music, right?
The first day, it was like a few hundred people. I think this weekend, it peaked at maybe 1,000 people per day. It's going to take a long time to get to the number that we want to get to. Tom Homan came out in an interview and he said that it's going to be actually slower than you think, which is, I was a little, what the hell's going on here?
Oh, re-baseline your expectations a little bit.
He said, we are focusing on the criminals first.
As they should.
And then we'll see where we get.
Yeah, and they're seeing a little bit of what they call collateral damage, right? If you're hanging out with one of the most dangerous non-undocumented individuals or criminals in our country, then if you're hanging out with them, then you might be collateral damage as well.
Correct. So we were told about this immigration crisis, and we all felt it. We all watched it, and we spoke about this issue many times in the last year.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about it right now?
I think we're headed in the right direction. I think obviously the woke left and the leftist liberals as well as the talking heads online are exploding because they think this is a terrible idea. However, we do have clips of the Crown Prince, Mr. Obama, Hussein Obama, saying basically what Trump is exactly doing right now. So they're trying to, the way that I'm looking at it, they're trying to get us outraged about a whole bunch of nothing, which is essentially should be happening anyway, because if you're an owner of anything, like a piece of property, you kind of want to know who's on your land. So it makes a lot of sense that we're starting this for sure.
So a lot of people are really upset about the border. Was really upset about the border situation over the last year,
Well, we've seen a lot of celebrities this week crying about it because it's so important to them to let everybody know how they're feeling about it.
Selena Gomez had this crazy breakdown, which has been deleted. And even President Trump trolled her on his Truth Social, which is hilarious.
Come on. Can we just step back for a second, my friends? Like, if you have the time and situational awareness to put a camera up so that you can record yourself crying, you're just a bitch. like, who does this? Like, you want to get the good lighting, you want to get the good angles. I mean, you're going to have to cry and then do another retake. How lame is? No one cries on the first try perfectly.
She is an actress.
Get out of here, though. Come on, man. If you imagine an individual behind that video doing multiple takes, they're a bitch.
So can we agree?
Like, that's why I made that video and I posted it on X. I was like, you're a bitch.
So in the hierarchy of issues that people cared about going into this election season, where would you rank the border crisis?
Oh, it was certainly not number one. The number one heated issue for the last presidential election was the Democrats ensuring that everybody knew that they wanted to be able to kill their babies. That was the most important thing. That was, from what I understand, right, from the left.
Didn't Trump break on that, though?
It was women's rights, women's bodily autonomy, and essentially saying, Trump is going to prohibit me from being able to kill my unborn child. It was the main issue of the day, I believe.
But didn't Trump break on that?
He said that it should go back to the states' rights.
And he also said that he believes in the exceptions. He said, I'm a 3 exception guy. Rape, incest, right. and women's and life of the mother.
Yes.
Which for the hardcore pro-life people, they're like, no, like there's no exceptions. So that was kind of gray. He's not a true pro-life guy.
Yeah.
Which is gray. Anyway, but it was an important issue.
It was an important. It was an important issue, I think, more for the right and the conservative right, who is saying, look, hey, we're having bleeding right now into our country. We don't know who's coming in. That's probably pretty important. Where the left is like, nah, we need those votes. We need those people in our cities, right? Our safe cities, our sanctuary cities. We need those people. What matters to me more is the ability for me to kill my unborn child. Oh, he's sneezing here. I thought he was laughing at this joke. For a second.
Not funny.
I was like, oh man,
not funny.
Is it like this? Where's this? Will?
Will's busy like pushing buttons right now. He's like, I can't. Don't ask me to do more than one thing at once.
Yes. So border was a big issue for the right. I think the left
for the right.
Yes, for the right for sure.
Maybe top 3 issue.
Easy.
Okay. This may get people upset.
Where's my popcorn?
It's just thinking out loud. Although I think I have a lot of validity to my claim.
Matt, you're not free thinking, are you?
Okay. What if the border crisis wasn't real?
Oh, man. Okay, I think I know where you're going. Okay, so let me recontextualize your question. When you say the border crisis isn't real, what you're insinuating is that not 10,000 people a week are streaming across our border. It's more like maybe 100.
Well, President Trump, during his campaign, said that he said, there's 20 million illegal immigrants in this country. He said, and some reports up to 30 million, 40 million is what he said multiple times on the campaign trail. But the baseline number, he says, 20 million. Okay. I looked at the data. We have historically, over the last 15, 20 years, approximately anywhere from 10 to 12 million illegal immigrants in the country at all times.
The numbers are always around the 10, 11, 12, 13,
Correct.
Yes.
That's pretty much flat the whole way through.
Yeah.
So that is status quo. We as a population, as a country, has accepted that 10 to 12 million is kind of okay. They're here. They've been here a long time.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put the words kind of okay in most people's mouths. It is what it is, kind of.
Well, yes, because the farmers use them, the construction companies use them. If you want to install some decking, then you go to Home Depot, you hire a few of them. People have been okay with using them as labor. right?
Fair enough.
No one's going to Home Depot and going, oh yeah, all these 15 guys staying out here, let's go arrest them all. No one's ever thought that.
Yeah,
They're
fair.
going, oh yeah, like now I know where they are, so if I need them, I can use them.
Not wrong.
Right? And we've all been guilty of that.
If I may bring up a conceit in fairness to the argument, I myself have used alternative labor means, because when when you just need hands,
Yeah.
they're great.
Yes.
And I'll give you the exact reason. It is cheaper for me to buy hay to put the pine straw down in my home. You know my home. I have all these areas for pine straw. My wife wants to make sure it's clean and nice. It's so much cheaper to grab some homies and have them give them $50 each. And it's like, I want you to pine straw everything.
Yes.
I've done it. I've used alternative means of labor acquisition.
Huge segment of society in the United States use that method, not only for their businesses, for their construction companies, for their farming, agriculture, for whatever type of labor, manual labor, handyman, etc.
Big time.
This has been the norm for the last 15, 20 years.
Yes.
Okay. So the claim is that there are 20 to 40 million now, meaning that we have an increase of 10 to 20 million new people. Okay. Where are they?
Well, if we look at some of those reports, they're in small town America, in these small towns here and there. But I will concede that when we hear about these reports, it's not like hundreds of thousands are imported to these small towns. It's usually like 500, 1,200, 2,400. It's significant, but it's not like tens of thousands of people.
Okay. My claim is not that there is zero increase in illegal immigrants, but it's like a 5 to 10% increase, not the 100 or 200% increase that they've claimed.
So what you're saying, Matt, is that there is no crisis, but rather it's just the normal stream of illegals that we've been experiencing for years. Nothing's really changed here.
Yeah, maybe a slight bump.
Oh, so it's kind of like those reports in like 1912 when there were like 6 million Jews, and then reports in 2018 that there were 4 million Jews.
And then now it's 1.5.
And it's 1.5. So are you saying that there is historical precedence that numbers of populations are not only rigged, manipulated, but also fake and historically revised?
So I went through, in New York City, which is supposed to be the number one city for all the illegal immigrants, I found the largest ICE tent detention or migrant center. It's got 3,500 beds.
3,500.
3,500. That's the largest in America. It's 3,500. How do you get to 10 to 20 million if the largest is 3,500? They said they're putting them in hotels, but I've been traveling all over the country. You have too.
Yeah.
I haven't run into a hotel with them.
And hotels aren't that 3,500 large.
No, they're a few hundred.
Yeah. Like 400.
There are only 5 million hotel beds in the entire country. Where are these 20 million people? If 20 million people were injected into your community, even if it's spread apart, you would feel it.
Oh, yeah.
And we've seen the videos, and I was like, okay, how many videos are there? And I was like, wait, we're all watching the same 10 videos over and over and over again. In each video, it's like 1,000 people in there. Okay, 10,000 people, maybe 20,000 people. Where is the other 20 million?
I don't know. Matt, I feel like I've seen, and I could be conjuring this up out of the ether, but I feel like I've seen videos of alternative reporters who've gone to these areas where you see huge like swaths of land where they essentially have these FEMA camps, large camps of settlers or, immigrants or undocumented humans or whatever you want to call them. So I feel like there's probably a couple of those probably in the Midwest, South, and Western areas. But even if we had several of those, that would not be millions of people. No. It would just be like tens of thousands of people in this one camp area.
Yeah, if you have 5,000 here, 5,000 here, 5,000 here, it still takes a ridiculous amount of them to get to 20 million. Where are they?
They might be in the tunnels underneath LA.
All of them?
I mean, that's where
a lot of people.
That's where the Greys are eating people.
I would feel as though if you had 20 million injected in the country, you would feel it. And I felt like I felt it because I was told, and I believed it so early on that I just assumed it was true. And then you see the videos of the border, and you're like, they're like, oh, look at this border crossing, and you see it, and it's like 40 people running across the border. Like, wait, okay, where's the other videos?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I started looking on the internet, trying to find them. I'm like, wait a second. I've already seen this one.
Man.
And I've already seen this one. I've already seen this one. I was like, wait a second. Where's the 20 million of them?
See, this is the problem with free thinking. When you think freely, you realize that maybe everything around you literally is a psyop. And we had lunch before this, and I showed you a video that was clearly doctored from the 60s. And I mean, for videos to be quote unquote live during the 60s of like a shooting, perhaps, to be able to be doctored and then still pushed out public. I mean, what technology do they have today, Matt?
And for reference, Peter is talking about the video of the JFK assassination.
There are videos of the JFK assassination, and there are witnesses who will tell you that the video that the public saw is clearly doctored. Why? For you internet sleuths out there, you'll find that the video has been doctored, and you could see the floating tree. The tree in the background that has a stump, and then suddenly it disappears in a cut. And so, like, the only point I'm trying to make to everybody out there and to you, Matt, is that if there's clear evidence that they've been able to doctor public, live streamed, footage through the TV, through the tube back in the 60s, what makes you believe you are actually watching reality today? The answer is you aren't. There are videos from the 90s, and you've seen these, of where the CNN hosts on the stage are like laughing and saying, "Oh, there's a bomb. Oh, here's the sirens from the bomb." And then they don't cut, and you've seen those videos where they're like laughing and hooting it up, and they're not even there. They're not even in Baghdad. They're not even over in the Middle East. They're over in a studio. Maybe it was like the Red Hot Chili Peppers said, right? Everything's just made in a Hollywood basement after all.
I'm trying to find these illegal immigrants because
trying to find these illegal immigrants. Apparently, they're paying you $750 a pop or $800 a pop now,
if you're
brother.
paying that much money, then wouldn't the states who's receiving the money overinflate the numbers, not underinflate the numbers? If you're getting paid per illegal immigrant in your community, wouldn't you overinflate your numbers, not underinflate your numbers?
That's such a government thing to do.
Right?
It's such a government thing to do, like Captain Obvious.
But in New York, they say 200,000. In California, they say they have like 150,000. Miami says they have 50,000. Houston, they say they have like 35,000. Okay. Where do we get to 20 million? Where's that number coming from, by the way?
Because they're not going to the middle of Idaho and creating a little, they're not irrigating land. They're not creating commerce. They're not creating a little Wakanda out in Idaho, bro.
If there was a community
how are they surviving
in Idaho, you would see video or a picture of 50,000 or 100,000 of them in Idaho. I've never seen that. You've only seen the same tents, the same areas. The math ain't mathin'.
Matthew, this is why you didn't want to talk about this during lunch.
Because people get really pissed off about this.
I'm confused now. I'm like literally confused.
Why would they do this? And it's not one administration, it's two administrations that are complicit to this lie. Why? And I'm not saying I want people to hear it. I'm not saying that there has been no increase. Okay, let that clear. What I'm saying is that the increase is marginal, not this huge crisis that we were told to believe.
20 million mouths to feed is a lot of mouths.
You would feel that in the economy,
bro.
You would feel that everywhere in your daily life.
Let's cut it in half, 10 million. Like, they're all streaming through the southern border, 99%. We have some reports of the northern border. But like, you would think that many humans, the border towns, I mean,
they would be overrun.
It should be nonstop local news coverage of locals being like, look at these streams of human, biological weapons walking through my streets.
But they're not.
So, like, people don't sometimes understand scale. Like, when you see the New Year's downtown New York City, when we're not all locked down, when like everybody's there, and you see the picture of the ball and that large picture showing everybody on that main street, how many people are there? Like 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Like, that's just 20,000 people.
Yeah.
We're talking about 10 million, 15 million
Yeah.
people. Like, you can't hide that, Matt. That's why. That's why I'm like. That's why I'm having cognitive dissonance right now, Matt.
Isn't it? Once you hear it,
You can't unthink it.
You can't unthink it. You're like, wait, where are they?
Dude.
And they say, oh, but you can't discredit Laken Riley. I get it. I'm not saying that's okay. But think about what's happening because of this crisis.
It almost seems like a per capita issue. You know how everybody on Twitter has per capita issues? It's like, well, yes, are undocumented humans creating crime? Yes, period, full stop. It might be just a per capita issue, right? Meaning there's a low amount of immigrants, but because of that, because of a lot of them have a higher chance of doing crime, then it makes it seem like it's far worse than we imagined. It's kind of like the whole per capita issue with, Chicago crime. No one ever wants to talk about this, but we have like 400 people dying a day, or not a day, a month over there. But, we got to make sure that we, stop the white man from getting that cake from the gay baker. That's more important, clearly.
I mean, we've been doing creative statistics forever. Chicago has a gun epidemic, and we need to outlaw guns for everyone because everyone's just shooting each other. No, like, it's just the gangs.
Yeah. Yeah. Regular people don't generally wake up and
people aren't just shooting each other.
Yeah.
It's all the gangs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you can take that number and you inflate it and you extrapolate it, and because of that, you create all these rules around gun ownership and 2A within Chicago and Illinois,
right,
using this one statistic.
Oh, yeah.
So now we are using this. Okay, we have 20 million people that have flooded into this border.
Allegedly.
Because of this, we need to create voter ID for everyone, which for people that don't understand, voter ID is federal ID. Right now, your ID is a state ID. And what they want to do is when they say they want to have everyone have voter ID, they want everyone to have federal ID, which is digital ID, the dystopian digital ID that everyone's worried about.
Yeah, I think they call it the real ID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are like, no, of course we need voter ID. You are advocating for a federal ID, which does not currently exist.
So what you're saying, if I could to overly simplify the argument here in 2 points, it would simply be this. The immigration crisis is not real. They are using that as a psyop to increase control.
Of course. Because of the immigration and border crisis that we all believe to be true, they are now doing, in California, I saw a video of it, they are doing random stops in the street.
Yep.
They are advocating for cameras everywhere.
Yep.
They are rolling out these Palantir-type programs to do mass surveillance because we have to catch terrorists.
Yep.
That all fled in through the border.
Yep. And all of your favorite social media sites are now going to be run through Oracle.
We have to do all of this mass surveillance because we have to catch all the immigrants and illegal immigrants that are coming in because they're so dangerous. But the reality is that it's the rate it's always been. Maybe a slight increase. But it's not this 20 million people that rushed to the border that we were told and that we believe. And I believe too. I totally believed it.
I drank the Kool-Aid too. I've done videos on this.
Do the math. Where are they? Where are these 20 million? Everyone says, oh, I know, I saw a video somewhere. Okay, go outside. Go outside into your community. Go to your local city. Go wherever you are. Go try to find them. Where are they? Are there more than there were before? And people are like, no, but they're in another city. Okay, the person in the other city, look too.
Yeah.
Everyone look.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Everyone's pointing at other cities.
Like, oh no, they're all in New York City. New York City has 200,000. Where's the other 19 million?
My
19.8 million.
My wife just spent 2 weeks vacation up there with the kids. She didn't see any problems up there.
Where are they then?
She went all over.
And this is really difficult for a lot of people.
This is a lot of cognitive dissonance right here, man.
People are just like either really pissed off right now, or people are watching or listening going,
I'm having the explosion moment because again, my example that I gave earlier, which I think is this is how I'm kind of anchoring myself, is I've been to football games. I've been to soccer games. I've been to mass, celebrations of national holidays. And then when you see the exodus from a stadium, there's only 30,000, 40,000 people exiting that. But it is massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
Even if it's 50,000, even if you say it's 100,000.
Yeah. I mean, it's It's like, bro, this mass of humans, you could see this on a satellite picture if satellites were real, right? Right? If they were real, we could see it. But like, you can't escape this massive amounts of people. And if I may say, if I'm kind of hearkening back to some of the video clips that we've allegedly seen of these invasions, none of the clips that I've ever seen of the invasions are anywhere close to the massive size of a UGA game after the game is over.
No.
Or a Georgia Tech game, Georgia Tech isn't, that good as UGA, but like even a Georgia Tech game, downtown Atlanta is like slammed.
Every video or picture you've ever seen is like a few thousand people.
Oh, yeah.
Where are the other 19.5 million people? We're not like kind of close. We're within a standard deviation. We are so far from the number that you're like, wow, did we totally get psyoped?
I think so, bro. Like I'm thinking about how many times I've stood with a mass exodus of people leaving a stadium and I've never seen anything close to that in any of the clips that we've been portrayed of this mass invasion of human bioweapons.
It's crazy.
Not even close.
And you and I both have been like beating this drum for a year now.
I know. I feel like there's an
immigration crisis is a problem. This border crisis is a problem. Shut it down, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. We did that.
Fuck, are we the bad guys?
I don't know if we're bad guys because I think at least the intent was pure.
Well, yeah. Well, we don't want it. We don't want people who we don't know who they are coming into our country.
Of course.
Like Captain
We're not
Obvious.
advocating for an open border.
Yeah.
But
where are they?
Where are they?
Matt, I think you make such a good point here that I'm trying to create examples in my mind. And every time I come up with an example of my mind of massive amounts of people that I've participated with or seen, none of them are even close to what we've seen on the TV. It's like 500 people in a line. Like, bro, you're just getting Girl Scout cookies at this point.
Where are they?
I don't know.
20 million people. Where did they go? That's a crazy amount of
That's a lot of adrenochrome.
And now that you know it, it's like, I feel so stupid.
I feel like we're kind of the bad guys because we've been trumpeting this for over a year.
Everyone has. We all believed it to be true. And there's still people like watching or listening that probably just literally turn it off right now going, dude, you guys are talking shit. Okay, go find them.
Yeah.
Tell me where. Yeah. I scrub through every corner of the internet to find all the data on anybody. Again, if the claim is, everyone says, oh, the illegal immigrants are getting $3,500 each or whatever the number is. Okay, then where are the payment records? If the states are getting money and giving away money, wouldn't they want to, like, oh, it's so corrupt, the system's corrupt. Okay. Then wouldn't the records want to be overinflated so they can get more, like they did during COVID?
Of course, because that's the way government works. You can never reduce your budget every year because then you're not going to get filled up to that budget number. You need to expand your budget. And so would it make sense, is what you're saying here, Matt, would it make sense, seeing the patterns that we've noticed in government malfeasance of reporting and financial reporting, would it make sense based on those patterns that they would also inflate the immigration numbers so they can get even more governmental support, which we all know goes right into the back pockets of these local elected officials who are somehow making $450,000 a year? Is that what you're saying?
Well, not only would they do that, but even though they did that, the number is still 90% off.
I mean,
so even when you overinflate the numbers, we're still at a huge gap.
Oh yeah,
where are they?
Well, the answer is that when the ship is burning, like the ship that we have of America and the way that these maybe leftists and these Democrats see the world, is when the ship is burning, the rats grab all the cheese before they go down. So it's like they literally don't care that they're off 90% because the ship's going down and they're just trying to grab all the cheese before it sinks, man. No, it's the whole stereotypical boomer generation where, some of the millennials and the younger generation will look at the boomers and say, you guys are selfish. You guys have only created policies that support you. You're going out, you're dancing into the night, and you have not considered legacy, and that's why the rest of the younger generation is fucked. And it's kind of like that. That's the way that I'm seeing it, is that these politicians and leaders are filling up their pockets and inflating these numbers so they can get paid because they know the ship's going down and their timeline is very short.
In the first week of these mass deportation, which is not a mass deportation, it's just deportation.
So if you're what they're sending 1,000 people away per week?
They peaked at 1,000, but it seems to be like 300 to 600 people per day.
Per day.
Per day.
So that's kind of in line with maybe what the reality is of them streaming in.
Well, 300 to 600 per day is what Obama did, is what Biden did, and is what Trump did. So this is actually what they're doing currently is status quo, what they've always done.
Oh, so it's just the media optics and media megaphone that's oscillating our emotions. Nothing's changed underneath, you're saying.
And the ones that they've gotten so far is similar to what they've always done.
Yeah, the bad guys.
Well, you go after the people that have already been arrested before. And if you've already been arrested before and you're in the system, they know where you are, you've been here for a while, actually.
Oh.
So they're not grabbing the new people that flooded in, although they are pushing people away from the border. When they say 1,000 people, it means they came across the border and they send it right back. That's included in the 1,000 people. Okay. When are you going to get these 20 million people that just jumped in? Do they even exist? I don't know. What are we doing? I have no idea. But while this narrative is going on, everyone says we need to have the traffic stops. We need to have the surveillance. We need to have the cameras because there are criminals rolling around and you have to catch them. And I'm like, wait a second.
I don't like this language, Matt. I don't like this language that you're projecting to me, man. It sounds like we are tightening our own nooses around our necks.
We are not only celebrating it, we are actively asking for it.
So we are actively engaged in our own demise?
Isn't that how it is? We've had this conversation before. They make a situation or they portray a situation to be so bad that people feel so unsafe that they say, government, please come help us. Please give us more control. Please give us more surveillance. We need your help. It's okay that I'll give away a little bit of my rights because it's for the greater good because I feel safe. Here, just please take my rights. Give me more safety.
Oh.
We are literally there right now, this moment.
Man.
And the only way, you can prove me wrong if you can prove that you can find the 20 million people. Then I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Find the 20 million illegal immigrants that are rolling around the country. And I will say, I'm sorry, I messed up. I didn't know.
I think you make sometimes you have to wake up, you have to walk outside, look at the world and say, what is actually happening, right? And I've said this multiple times in my own videos and stuff, is when I look outside my garage and I hear the birds chirping and I look at it and I say, well, shit, we're still on this flat plane of an earth. Nothing's moving and nothing's happening, you know? And sometimes I think other people, many people, maybe in America, need to do the same thing. You know, my wife likes to say to my kids, go touch grass, you know, go outside. Go do something. See that the world is not all what it's chopped up to be on the talking head and the media. Maybe, just maybe, your lived experience in Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas, Austin, Texas, all those border towns. Maybe your lived experience is different from what the talking head is telling you. Because when you go outside, you don't see mass zombies walking around. Because I'll tell you, if we have 20 million people, they need food, they need shelter, and they need something to do with their idle hands. And so far, from what I can tell, there isn't war happening in these border town areas. So maybe it's not as big of a deal as we've been portrayed.
I mean, if you live in South Texas,
yeah, hit us up.
If you live near a border and you're like, well, there is an increase here. Great.
Fair.
How big of an increase?
Are you sniping 2 illegals a day or is it 10,000 a day?
Or did you see 15 or 20 sitting around? Like, I don't think people understand, like, how many multiples of 20 or 50 people it takes to get to 20 million.
That's what I'm saying. When I go to a parade and you look at this parade and then you read the news reports later, you're like, the parade had 12,000 people. You're like, the fuck? It looked like there was 100,000 people here. There's only 12,000 people here? I was swamped. So when you tell me 20 million, bro, you ain't getting out of that. You ain't getting out of that mob. There's no way.
20 million. And why does, because during the campaign, when Trump said there's 20, 30, up to 40 million people.
Yeah, I heard the 30 for sure.
There's no one on the left going, no, that's not right. That's not right. They didn't do that. They were like, oh, no, your number is full of shit. They're like, yeah, it's kind of a problem, but we're dealing with it.
Which, can I just...
Why didn't they disprove the number?
Can I just interject for a second? If they could have done it, then why, when Trump comes in, are we seeing help given to the North Carolina people immediately, right? We're immediately deporting these known criminals that were on the radar. Like, it just shows you that the Democratic side literally chooses not to help. They choose not to improve. What changed from Tuesday to Wednesday when J.D. Vance shows up and suddenly the North Carolinians now have support? So, like, I'm sorry, my friends, if you're out there and you're leaning to the left or you're on the Democratic side, the Democrats have proven just in these first few days and weeks of Trump's taking over the reins, the Democrat and the left have proven that they hate you. They despise you. They despise America. Because you can't tell me that just because we've had a change of commander-in-chief, now we can suddenly help these people in North Carolina? Suddenly we can help these people? Like,
are they helping them? I don't know anymore.
Why you gotta ruin everything, man?
Well, are they?
I think so.
I don't think so. I've talked to people in North Carolina, they're like, no, like we're still actually not getting anything.
The TV is telling me that they're helping, man.
But people on the ground are like, no, actually it's still pretty bad here.
Why are you bursting my bubble, bro?
I don't know anymore.
I want to have a good juju moment.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Why is everything fake?
I don't know. You can't trust anything on the news. Everything's a lie. It's crazy. Like, how do you ever find out? The only way to find out what's going on in North Carolina, you can't watch anything on the news because all the news is fake.
You know what we need? We need an unlimited budget so that we can literally, when something happens, we say, Jared, get your fucking Nikes on. We're sending you to this location. Like, seriously. And we just send Jared, whoever Jared is, to all of these locations. He's just going to be on a plane every single day of his life so that he can actually go to these locations and call the BS out from the mainstream media, who was, by the way, 3 days early to that event that suddenly happened with this mass shooting that nobody knew about, but the news knew about it 3 days prior. So it'd be nice for Jared to be there as well so that he could call out the CNN BS.
Trump said yesterday that United States military just entered the great state of California and under emergency powers turned on the water flowing abundantly from the Pacific Northwest and beyond.
The great savior El Trumpo.
A lot of things to think about there is that, number one, he said that he sent the military. Why are we sending the military domestically, by the way? I don't like that. The military is not supposed to operate domestically. It's not what it's for.
It's supposed to protect us, yeah.
It's supposed to be exterior, not interior. And then the California Water Division, they're like, no, they never showed up. We turned it on ourselves. It's like, okay. It's pretty easy to prove. Why do we lie about that? But everyone reading the post under, or the comment section under Trump are like, yeah, like Trump did something about it. Did he?
Or did he just grift off of it?
I don't know. But everyone's celebrating the fact that the U.S. military was mobilized domestically.
Or
that's not okay, actually.
You're kind of missing the narrative, right? The bigger issue is now we have mobilized military doing stuff.
And did they even? They didn't even do it because California's like, no, he didn't. Well, they didn't come here.
So what you're saying is they didn't actively mobilize. They just told us that they did.
They just normalized the narrative of doing it without even actually doing it because they can't do it yet. You can't mobilize the U.S. military within the borders. That's like not allowed. That's what the National Guard is for.
What's the game, Matt?
I think we're just normalizing the idea that the U.S. military needs to get involved domestically, that there is an emergency going on in the country, that there are killers and murderers and rapists everywhere amongst us in the population. We don't know where they are. We don't know how many, but they're everywhere. And therefore, we need more mass surveillance. We need to lock things down and we need to control everyone because this for your safety and for your protection. That's the only narrative I can think of.
And if we take in all the little micro bits of what's happening around all of this, like it all, the theme all is aligned. Drones, China, right? TikTok, social media, censorship, China, right? invasion, right? Protection, right? It's all the narrative of all the trauma bombing that we've had just in January. I almost feel like if you think about all the themes, the guardrails of control are getting tighter and tighter around everybody. From data to surveillance to what you say to people are going to kill you out in the street. Remember, we started the year off with the driver who drove through the crowd, right? Like the reins of control, and we have snippets of this new potential Fauci juice Fauci thing coming out. I mean, if you are a weak-minded individual, I can understand why you're shaking at your boots at home every time you watch CNN and that homo.
You can physically feel the invisible wall around you closing in.
Brother, I'm sensing it. Everything that's going on in just January. We're only 1 month deep.
Well, they said, we got to ban TikTok, and then they're like, oh, everyone's going to Redbook. Look how dangerous it is. Everyone's going over there. China's getting all of your data. We need to fix TikTok immediately because everyone's fleeing to China. Oh, we got a good idea. Let's let Oracle and Bill Gates get involved.
Yes.
What? That's better? How? Let's let the CIA-funded Oracle have all of your data instead.
Yeah,
and let's just give it to them.
Because it's the devil I know, right? Humans are so whack that they will choose the devil they know over the unknown, right? It's like, hey, I'm going to choose this bad decision because at least I know the outcome. It's like, brother, that's a terrible idea. But that's how humans are. We would rather choose the devil we know than the unknown.
And then they said, we need to build all these data centers. We need to start Project Stargate. We need to get OpenAI involved.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter that he assassinated the whistleblower. Like, we don't care. Like, we need Sam Altman and Larry Ellison to get more of our data because it's important. And the country said, oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, well, we didn't like that idea.
We didn't like that.
We didn't like that at all.
So immediately, they're like, oh, but look, DeepSeek.
Yeah. Which
in
I
China.
spent two and a half good hours giving all my data to China.
DeepSeek
doing my
comes
own
out,
testing.
and all of a sudden, the mentions of DeepSeek goes from approximately 50 a day to 2,000 a day on the news.
Oh, yeah.
So they want you. The news propaganda machine wants you thinking about DeepSeek. It's like, why? Okay. And then the market crashes because all of it, right? So DeepSeek valuation is approximately $150 million. It wiped out the market cap of the United States stock market by $2 trillion. It wiped out crypto by $300 billion. $150 million market cap AI wiped out $2.3 trillion off U.S. money and currency. And you're like, number one, were they just trying to figure out a reason, an excuse to pull their cash out? Because everyone wants to get paid and they're all looking for a payday. And like, if we do this, we can all take out and it'll be fine because it doesn't raise any questions. We have DeepSeek to blame. Or President Trump comes out the very next day and he's like, well, I heard that this thing called DeepSeek, it's like getting pretty big. I think it just proves that we need to spend more time and be more supportive of our AI.
Oh, man.
You create the boogeyman.
Bro, you got it.
And then all of a sudden, all the doubt that people had in all these new data centers that they want to build, that the doubt you have in giving so much support to guys like Sam Altman and Larry Ellison, all of a sudden that narrative, poof, gone.
Yeah.
You need to support them or you're going to fall behind China.
Yes. You got it.
Off this $150 million project that is actually open source. So if you want to use it, you can actually use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's free. Anyone can use it.
You got it.
They're not stealing your data because open source. You can host it on your own computer.
You got it.
People don't understand what open source means.
You got it.
They're not stealing your data. They've made the tool so you can use it.
So if we back up, you're telling, because remember, the tech oligarchs, remember the first press conference, we talked about this in our last episode. The first press conference was not about Palestine, Israel. It wasn't about Ukraine. It wasn't about the $900 million we're sending a week to the Taliban, right? Like, it wasn't that.
And not the border crisis.
Not the border crisis.
Quote,
right? Not inflation, Lord Jesus. Not the fact that you're paying $20 for eggs now, right? And people can't get by. We need to make sure that the most preeminent issue of our time is these three tech oligarch saviors. And if we follow the narrative, man, it's like, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Like, seriously, bruh, that's the moment I'm having, man. You spit it perfectly, Matt. This is from the tech oligarchs' playbook. They're like, we are going to run this game. We're going to run the show. We need to roll out more controls. We need more surveillance. Let's throw this out there. The crowd is like, boo, we don't like the AI stuff. And then like, well, that's easy. Let's just bring out the boogeyman of this Chinese app that's worth $150 million.
Everyone in the news like DeepSeek.
Yeah, and
DeepSeek.
they run the play.
DeepSeek.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, China!" And then we all turn around, do a 180 within 24 hours, and like, Larry Ellison, Massa,
save us!
You got it, man. I can see clearly now.
It's crazy,
bro. The game is rigged,
and these tech oligarchs who are running this playbook. They didn't start January 1st or January 20th. They've been doing this, investing in these technologies, working on these technologies since the last administration.
Oh, if we go even farther, they were probably selected when they were a young lad.
They were funding the other administration, and all they did was just switch their funding. They wanted the open border narrative then because it benefits their surveillance mechanisms.
Oh, yeah.
And they want the open border mechanism now. They're actually been consistent all the way through.
So you're saying no matter the political and social upheavals and the waves of emotionality, are you saying that the undergirding foundation of our masters' continuity is still ensured?
They're still there, aren't they?
You're saying that
it's the same people.
That the continuity has never been fractured.
Never.
And we're just up here playing in the waves.
Bill Gates was on the other side. Larry Ellison was on the other side. Zuckerberg was on the other side. Elon Musk was on the other side. Jeff Bezos was on the other side. They were all on the other side.
So they were all this continuity in the bottom.
And now they're on this side. And there's been zero disruption in their plan and business.
Man.
And the open border crisis has benefited them only.
Man, if I had a nickel for every time we revealed the truth to all you truth seekers out there and all you free thinkers out there, we'd have like $1. I think you're spitting the truth, Matt. I mean, this whole immigration thing, I feel a little ashamed, actually.
I was so mad.
Because I went hard into it. And to be fair, there are true stories of 1,200 immigrants being forced into towns of 800 people. Like, legit. So is that emotion worthy? 100%. Should you get pissed off about that? 100%. But let's not forget that is one example of 1,200 middle-aged fighting men getting shoved into a little town of 800 people. We're still missing the narrative of where the hell are the other 10 million dudes?
Yeah.
Like, where are they? Like, I don't know, Matt. I don't know where they are.
They show the picture of the people at the border, and they're like, oh, look, why are they so dressed up well? Why are they wearing normal clothes? Because they take videos out of context. Is it possible that they're just coming to their border, going to work, and going back out the border like they do and have been doing for the last 20 or 30 years?
Whoa. Could you imagine someone coming out with I took that video. That was just normative business practices. I was just doing some drone footage for 12 hours. But I just saw my footage on the news, and they said it's all this immigration, mass invasion. It's like, no, that's just business people going back and forth
every day
for trade.
I've been to the border. I've been to the border between San Diego and Tijuana.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
There are Mexicans that live in Mexico or Mexican citizens that come into California. They work. They have jobs, and then they go back home.
So there has to,
which is why they would wear normal clothing.
So we hear all this news about they're flying from India, they're flying from the Europe, they're flying from Africa into South America, and then they're taking these dangerous roads up through. There has to be countries in there that are keeping some numbers. I would think that if someone, a real sleuth, were to go into these and find those numbers of, they're not accurate, obviously, but I bet that if you found all those numbers of all those people that are flying into Colombia and then walking up, or flying into Venezuela and walking up, or flying into, whatever and walking up, I bet if you added those up, it would not be even close to the tens of millions that we're hearing on the U.S. side.
I remember watching all these videos.
That's so many human people walking through Mexico. Like,
yeah. I remember
it'd be
all
like a
these
parade
videos
every day
at the border, and CBP's like, oh, look, we got more border crossers today. And we're looking, and it's like 50 people. I'm like, oh, yeah, look, they're flooding in.
Yeah.
It never occurred to me that 50 people multiplied to 20 million is a lot of multiples.
Yeah, and if you think about how many of those groups of 50 must pass through the border every hour, like the math don't math.
The math ain't math.
You might be like, hey, maybe 2,000 streamed through this week.
I mean, 20 million people is a lot of people.
That's just.
How come we never thought? I can't believe I've never thought about this before. I can't believe no one's ever thought about this before.
Human mass migrations they're incalculable when you've actually seen them, right? When you've seen them in the Middle East, when they had those those mass migrations, and you see these swaths of people, right? But like, we're not seeing anything close to that from the pictures and video that we're getting from the southern border. So the more that I think about this, Matt, the more that I conjure up ideas or think about what I've seen in the past, like, the math ain't mathin'. Math ain't mathin'.
This narrative is pushed throughout the entire world.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a problem.
Again, I'm not saying there's zero increase.
Yeah.
But is it the crisis level, stop everything, give up your rights increase that we're told it is? So there is measures that you take to mitigate potential problems.
Mm.
And then there are extreme measures you take when you're in crisis. Those extreme measures that they're trying to implement now is justified by the extreme crisis that we're told. And that's what I'm saying.
Mm.
Could this problem be solved by just being stricter at the border and shutting out criminals? If you just went after known criminals and you shut down the border, is that the same effect? And actually, that's literally what they're doing.
Mm.
Then why add all this other mass surveillance? Why are we allowing it to happen?
Because
we're allowing it on the premise of the fact that there is 28 million extra people in the country, which is, again, find them. You let me know where they are. If you find them, if you can figure out any way to math it out, to make it true, let me know.
Yeah, we are genuinely curious because I'm confused now.
I've played this numbers game for the last 24 hours trying to figure out how I could even justify that number. Where are they?
The man's asking a legitimate question, my friends. Legitimate question. Where are all these human bioweapons? Where are they?
I don't think you can say bioweapon. I think you've said it like way too many times. We may not be on the internet tonight.
Look. The small hats know that the best way to disrupt a civilization is other humans. I look at them, and you might say that's a negative comment. Yes, it's they're human biological weapons.
But
they
where are
carry
they?
diseases. They carry different worldviews that are not aligned to the host nation. They create dissonance and conflict. Like the best weapon in the world is not a virus. The best weapon in the world is not a missile. The best weapon in the world is other human bioweapons, and they're really good at forcing these bioweapons into these other countries. Now, do we use that language, and could that language inflame people to more emotional states and saying, yeah, oh my gosh, they're invading us? Maybe not, according to our conversation here, but nevertheless, one bioweapon is still a bioweapon, in my opinion. That's the way that I look at it.
Enough to shut it all down.
Shoot. You don't need it. I mean, we've had these events, where just a handful of human bioweapons can do a lot of damage, especially
when?
Back in, let's just say, 2001 area when we saw, 5 dancing Israelis hanging out over across the river.
Again, but we did that.
Yeah, but just, 5 dancing dancing Jewish people can do a lot of damage.
Yeah. But when have they come through just... When's the last time we've had a real organic, like, attack? We give up our rights all the time. After 9/11, 2001, we had the Patriot Act, we have the establishment of the Homeland Security, we have TSA. We did all of these things. When's the last time we actually had a real terrorist attack? Well, it's not 2001 because, we were complicit in that. That's not actually count then. Then when?
Well, the answer I'm going to give you is not going to be satisfying. But the answer is we in America have actually never had a true terrorist attack from an outside foreign entity.
Okay.
It's always been our own people, generally the three-letter agencies, that are committing these acts against the American people, as it has been proven over time and time again.
So we create fear, we create the narrative that there is potential danger. You create a false flag event.
Yes.
And then you willingly give away your rights.
Yes.
Isn't that exactly what's going on right now?
Yes, the playbook has never changed. I think I'm going to get this wrong, but I feel like it was one of our old presidents, like a George Washington or Abraham Lincoln, or maybe it was Benjamin Franklin who said something to the effect of, those who give away their freedoms for safety deserve neither. Those who give away their freedoms for safety deserve neither. I think it was Benjamin Franklin. Can you look that up, Will? Because it's a good quote. I hope I didn't bastardize it. Benjamin Franklin, those who give up their freedom for safety deserve neither. I think that's exactly where we are, is that humans are so weak and they've been so psyoped, Matt, that they are willing to give away freedoms for the feeling of safety.
Confirmed. Ben Franklin.
Nice. Good job.
So sometimes they get it right.
Because if you remember, if you're old enough, you will remember, prior to 9/11 in 2001, you didn't do IDs to fly.
No. You could actually walk to the gate with your parents.
I could say goodbye to my loved one at the gate as they got on a plane.
Yeah, right down the jetway.
2001 happens. Now you have to do the TSA humiliation ritual dance.
Yeah, they need to pat your balls.
Yeah.
It's important.
Take your shoes off, put your shoes on, take your bag off, take it on. Hey, why don't you stand here? Why don't you turn around? Let me pat your balls. Let me pat your boobs.
Yep. Security theater.
Oh, your hair gel? It's half an ounce too much.
Exactly.
We're going to have to confiscate that.
Yes. Yeah, I told Matt about how pissed off I was when they confiscated my facial lotion.
We used to travel domestically freely.
Yeah.
And now we need to report to the man when we travel.
Yeah.
And people are like, no, that's for your safety. No, there's zero case of them ever stopping anything. Actually.
Never.
You can look up every record you want for the history of the TSA. They have never stopped a terrorist attack, ever.
And in controlled studies where the airports had privatized their airports, those airports are 10 times, 100 times safer than the government-run airports.
They calculate whether or not TSA is doing a good job by the amount of materials they confiscate. That's their marker, actually.
Are you saying they're incentivized monetarily to confiscate stuff from their passengers, Matt?
Number one thing being firearms. They take your firearms, which you are constitutionally allowed to have.
Yes.
There is not a history of people shooting people on planes.
No, generally not.
But they are allowed to take that from you. They're checking you and making sure to know exactly where you're going from, where you're going next. Mm-hmm. You have to get their permission to travel now. Mm-hmm. And people take that really lightly. But the reality is, when they do these random stops in the street, that is very unconstitutional. Mm-hmm. That is illegal. Those are illegal stops. If the government wants to stop you, they have to stop you with cause, and they have to suspect you of a specific crime.
Yes.
They can't just stop you because they want to stop you. It doesn't matter if they're the federal government or not. It's actually unconstitutional to do so. If they stop you and they ask you for your ID, you do not have to show it to them unless they can suspect you of a specific crime. If you're walking down the street and they want to give you, and they say, hey, if they pull you over even, just because they pulled you over. So what did I do wrong? Like, well, no, give me your license ID. No, what did I do? No, license ID. No, fuck you. What did I do? If you can't state clearly what I did and what you suspected the crime I've committed, you cannot ask for my ID. These are common. This is how the laws and Constitution works.
Supposed to work.
It's exactly how it's worked because the Constitution is the Constitution. These stops in the middle of the street saying, no, like we need to check your ID because we have to make sure we know where you're going. Those are fucking illegal, and stop normalizing that practice. You can't do that. You're giving away your rights.
I feel, I'm watching you, and I feel like a dystopian future is going to transpire, and someone's going to clip this clip of what you just said, and in 7 years, we're going to see your face again. Because guess what's going to happen in 7 years? The entire world's going to be locked down, and we're going to look back at this clip and say, damn it, Matt was right. Like, we shouldn't have given up our rights. Look at us now. We're all chained. We're all slaves within this economic system and the social system. And every time I go out, I have to wonder if, the what are they called? The thought police are going to be swiping me and asking me if I'm legally able to be out here right now. Like, bro, you're not wrong. You're taking it to the extreme. You're using tough language, but you're not wrong. We as citizens are slowly eviscerating our own rights because we're scared of the boogeyman on the TV.
Everyone says it all the time. Not everyone. A huge community of people say, it doesn't matter if you're not doing anything wrong. That's not how your rights work. It doesn't matter if you're doing right or wrong. It's your right to not be
accosted. It's your right to not be bothered, to just live your life. I think that sounds reasonable, Matt.
That's how things are supposed to be.
But what you're saying is we are, through fear, we are now allowing these tech oligarchs to encroach even more. And we say, yes, massa, I want more surveillance. Can I have a little bit more as I bend over slowly? Is that what you're saying?
Well, they are literally doing that because we had this conversation when we talked about Doge and Peter Thiel, and we talked about kind of the rollout of this dystopian system to categorize people based on your relationship, based on who you know, based on what you say online, in order to mass surveil everyone. We've had this conversation.
But we're moving into the new golden age here, Matt.
Well, we are going into a future dystopia of pre-crime. I want to hit that first. Pre-crime. Because just released is this new DARPA program.
This, what Matt's about to bring up, friends, gird thy loins, because this is something that we were only supposed to see in movies, like Minority Report with that Scientologist Tom Cruise, right? This was not supposed to be reality.
They call it the Anticipatory and Adaptive and Anti-Money Laundering Program.
That just sounds terrible. That sounds like a mistake waiting to be made. Like, seriously, that's like let's put this glass of water on the edge of this table, and let's just hope nobody ever hits it with their elbow. That's what we're doing.
What they are working on, and they're getting ready to release, DARPA, Division of the Military, is that they will start combing through people's financial records, use AI and machine learning to predict whether or not you're about to commit a financial crime. They want to prevent money laundering. They want to prevent certain things about financial crime before it happens.
Ooh.
They are literally trying to do pre-crime.
Ooh. Well, AI has never been wrong. AI has never messed up. Like we didn't have a Luigi Mangione moment.
Literally the premise of the movie Minority Report. Right?
I mean,
that's literally what the movie is about.
They were called precogs.
Right? That's what they're trying to create. DARPA is literally working on a program for pre-crime. And yes, people say, well, that's just for money laundering fun. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
Everyone that's involved in cryptocurrency, what they're saying is they're going to go through all your financial records, all your blockchain, all your cryptocurrency, and be like, this guy's about to commit a financial crime. Let's stop him now. Who decides what that level is? Does that level change over time? Anyone can be guilty of a crime at any given time in life.
Well, come on, Matt. O ye of little faith. You know that the AI overlords have never been wrong historically. They
are literally working on a pre-crime program. And you would say, that doesn't happen in the United States.
It's happening right now.
It's literally a program. It's on the DARPA website.
Yeah. And we actually have pre-rollouts of this in China, right? Like the models are clear. The experiments have been done. The results have been tallied, right? The think tanks, we've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on think tanks in both China, in America, in the Bilderberg Group, right? In the United Nations, they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on think tanks, and they've already exacted these policies in small ways in other countries. So, like, what you're saying, Matt, is it sounds like they're getting closer to perfecting this thing so that they can officially roll it out and let us know of this new control apparatus that they're putting on top of us.
Department of Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, Anticipatory Adaptive Anti-Money Laundering Proposal. That's crazy.
So we've crossed the veil. We're there now. We are in the pre-crime, pre-cog world now.
Pre-crime is necessary. There are rapists and murderers that are flooded through the border. How can you possibly correct all this crime? We need to live in a safe society. We're moving to the golden age. We'll get to. How do we control all this and keep you safe in your homes?
Because all of the illegal immigrants, the moment they cross the border, immediately register with the financial companies, so we know exactly how they're going to be spending their money here.
They start going after hackers. They start going after people that may actually be doing money laundering. But once the program was implemented, they say, here's another use case for it. Right? It's like, we're going to create custom AI-driven mRNA vaccines for cancer. Starts at cancer, but you don't invest $500 billion to get $500 billion back. Here's another use case. Here's another use case. Here's another use case. You know what, health insurance company, if you don't have this, we're just not going to insure people anymore. That's where it goes.
That's awfully dark of you, man.
Elon Musk said, don't worry about Neuralink, everybody. Don't worry. We're only using Neuralink to protect and heal and help the quadriplegic.
I'll tell you,
That's what he said.
When any politician says, don't worry, that's when I begin to worry.
He said Neuralink is only for the quadriplegic and the people that have spinal injuries that we have to save because they have no other choice.
And of course, they have this guy now who's playing video games using his brain hole.
6 months later, Elon Musk comes out. He's like, actually, I think it's really good for society. I envision everyone having this. Wait, what? You just said it's for quadriplegics.
Yeah.
Now it's for everybody?
Yeah. Well, actually, Matt, the difference is you don't have a choice in this one. It's actually going to be mandated so that you can engage in commerce and trade is probably what they'll say next.
And they'll probably say something like, you should put on your forehead or on your wrist.
And they'll also say that you can't actually trade or engage in any commerce because you've been flagged by our precogs that you're most likely going to be a financial terrorist. So you can no longer have access to their monthly carbon credits that we allotted for you.
It's crazy.
We're headed there, brother.
We are literally ushering it in, and people are in the streets celebrating it. It's not their fault.
Why?
Because we believed it too.
We never believed in precogs. We never believed in pre-crime.
We believed in the crisis.
We did believe in the crisis.
We said, we would never fall for it again. If they do COVID or something like this and they try to sign up us, we will never believe it. We're too good for that. We know better. And do you know what we did? We believed it.
Damn it, Matt. Our free thinking actually makes us very humble individuals because it seems like we got hoodwinked.
We believed it this time around, while we criticized people that believed it last time.
Oh, man.
No one is immune to this shit. They're fucking good at this.
I feel like I need to have 70 lashes on my back and mea culpa, maxima culpa, my friends.
I totally bought into this migrant crisis.
So did I. I created a video about it and I waited an entire year to release it. Like, that's how convicted I was.
We've made so many videos about this.
Bro,
We've talked about this.
I feel kind of bad now. I feel like the bad guy.
We were part of the people that are perpetuating this propaganda and lie.
This is 4 fucking podcasts in a row, Will, where I'm like feeling like the bad guy.
You are the bad guy.
Fuck!
Dude.
But this is the new golden age, though, right?
Well, without the migrant crisis, none of this is acceptable to people. Just like without COVID, none of that thing would have been acceptable to half the population.
You're not wrong. You remove the COVID lockdown mandates, you remove the migrant crisis, there's a slew of downstream implications that are completely removed off the chessboard.
You remove the fear of COVID. Hey, you're protecting grandma. Then you're not able to roll out the vaccines the way you wanted to. You remove the migrant crisis. You're not able to implement all these systems of control and surveillance that they're trying to do. The latter only happens because of the PSYOP. Without the PSYOP, you can't do all this other stuff. It's the same exact formula they used 4 years ago. They're doing it now. And we believed it. I believed that shit. I'm so pissed off because I believed it.
Yeah. Well,
where are they? People are like, no, Matt, you're like talking shit. Dude, where are they? Go find them.
And to Matt's defense, we are a global network of free thinkers, and we get tons of inbound all the time, good and bad, of reports of what's going on the ground. Also corrections, because people are always like, Peter, Matt, you're saying things wrong, blah, 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 blah. And so far, if I can kind of conjure up all of the inbound, I don't think we've received any, or at least I haven't received any inbound correcting us on what seems to be a massive conflation and inflation of this migrant crisis. Because if it was real, like, and I'm saying this kind of tongue in cheek, if it was real, we would have certainly got some videos from the hordes of free thinkers out there, been like, do you see this shit? They're like it's like that Brad Pitt movie when they're streaming over the wall. The zombies are flying over.
It'd be like Zombie or Zombie World Z or
yeah. World War Z.
World War Z, whatever. Yeah. Zombies crawling over the wall.
Yeah.
Where are they?
The answer is they don't exist, Matt.
You would see at least one FEMA camp somewhere with 100,000 beds.
They don't exist.
You need at least one to make up for 20 million.
They don't exist.
The biggest one I could find is 3,500 beds. 3,500 is nothing compared to the 20 million they state. Do you know how many of those, if the largest camp in America is 3,500 people, do you know how many of those you need? They would be in every single community.
I just keep going back to all these Florida State, Georgia Tech, UGA games that I've been to in the past, and Eagles games or Jacksonville Jaguar games that I've gone to, or even, Hawks game. When you're walking out with this swath of people, thousands of people from these stadiums, I've never seen a picture of my real life experience about these so-called invaders.
Have you never seen more than 20 different videos on migrants?
I mean, if I go to a Hawks game next week,
where are the videos?
Right? Yeah, that's the point. If I go to a basketball game or a football game next week, and then I were to leave that stadium when everyone is leaving, and I put my phone up and I put on record, you will see thousands of people walking around. Thousands. But I've never seen that many in any of the videos that we've been propagandized with from these millions of people streaming across the
And we're saying we're giving, they're like, I can't believe we give cell phones to migrants at the border. Where's their camera footage? They don't take video? They're not on TikTok? You say they use TikTok to figure out how to get into the country. Means they have a phone. Where's that footage?
You're asking the right questions, man.
Dude, it's so crazy. Do you know how crazy this one is?
I mean, I feel convinced, but at the same time, I also
you don't want to believe it.
I don't.
Of course not.
I don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe it because so much hinges on this being true. Because if this wasn't true, Matt, then maybe.
Dude, I don't know.
How far? You can take it really far. Right? Dude, if this isn't true, then what else isn't true?
If we've been giving illegal migrants cell phones at the border, and the legal migrants have been using TikTok and all these different tools to figure out how to get across the border, where are all their camera footage, videos, pictures, etc.?
I mean, it's supposed to be all housed in Dallas, Texas with Oracle, because he's collecting all the data from TikTok.
20 million people is a lot of people.
Even if we cut it in half, 10 million people is a lot of people.
10 million people is a lot of people.
Which we know it's more than 10 million for sure. So pick a number. Above 10, it's still a lot of people.
I mean, we've always had somewhere between 10 and 12 million in the country.
Right.
That's been the status quo.
Yep.
Meaning if we are still at 10 or 12 million, you don't actually feel it in your life. It doesn't disrupt your life because that's normal. We've always taken people that commit crimes and they've been deported. That's been happening 300 people a day for the last 20 years.
That makes
this
sense.
is normal.
Yeah.
we would have to do significantly more of that to justify all the actions being taken. For the fact that for the last year, we were told that this is a crisis, that this is an invasion, and everyone was complicit to this. And I don't know if there's people out there that just knowingly lied or just we all believed it, where this even idea comes from. Maybe even President Trump doesn't know. Maybe so many people told him that he actually believes it to be true. I don't know.
So
Nobody has asked this question before. Where are they?
Let me give you a small segue. 3-4 years ago, I went down the Q rabbit hole.
Ugh.
But I'm going to keep it short. In this Q rabbit hole, I can distinctly remember, and maybe in your experiences and trials going through the Q rabbit hole a little bit here, don't you remember in the Q rabbit hole how many times we saw an Anon show up on Q and say, I'm Border Patrol. It's crazy. It's so bad. Man, all this stuff is happening. Oh, we need to shut it down. La, la, la. And now as I think about to those posts that I remember reading from those Anons who are Border Patrol, I wonder now, is it just a psyop? Was it just made up banter? Was it an AI who wrote it so that they could get all the Anons of Q all hot and bothered about this invasion? I read that stuff, Matt. I was there. I went through some of the Q drops. I even waited for one, for a week because they were like, it's going to be important. And I was like, put it on my calendar. I was like, okay, I'm going to check the Q drop. And of course, nothing burger. And I just ignored it because I had other things to do. But like,
it's pretty crazy.
It's fake. It's all
pretty
fake.
crazy if you think about where does this psyop even originate from? So do people sit around and go, hey, we figured out a way to control everyone.
Yes.
This is what we're going to do.
Yes.
Or you see a little bump in the news, people react, and they're like, okay, people are reacting to that one. Let's take advantage of that. Option 2. Option 3 is that the algorithms AI are already loose, that they are perpetuating and putting out this narrative because they've logically reasoned that this works, that this helps them expand, that this feeds their own machine, and that they're already in charge.
I feel like out of the 3 answers, the most unfortunate but most believable is option number 3.
It's crazy.
But and let me add a little
AI
bit.
in charge?
Well, let me add a little bit of context. We know for a fact that AI can make decisions faster with more data than a human could ever make, period, full stop. So if we think about this, we have the literal AI overlords hanging out next to Trump. So let's just say all those AI overlords came together and they were magically able to put all of their powers of technology into one crystal ball, right? Like the world's coin. That crystal ball of AI and machine learning could literally amalgamate every piece of social data and be able to spit out, here's what we're going to do. Just like you said, this is going to happen. Once this happens, all the AI bots and all the data is going, and they're crunching all the numbers and they're like, oh my gosh, this thing just happened. If we add this fire starter, if we have this one person say this, we can build on it and build on it and build on it, and suddenly it can become a thing. And remember, we set in the goals of the AI model that we want to get to this point, massive control. Does the AI calculate that this is going to help us get to the end goal, massive control? The AI says 92.7.333, repeating, of course, chance that this is going to move us towards the goal. And the overlords go, pretty good. Start the machine.
Hit the button.
Hit the button. Like, it sounds sick, Matt, but I have seen at a micro level with the AI agents and machine learning systems that I'm using, I feel like God when I'm creating this code. I can show you a video that I posted just last week where I can literally create an entire app from one prompt. I'm just like, hey, you know what? I'm feeling spicy. Let's make this thing. I want to create a new scheduler. Boom. And it's just, you see the code, component, architecture, infrastructure, containers, design, and then it prints it out. And I'm like, oh, I don't like that window box. Let's change that and let's add a prompt. Brother, if for me in my little God mode sandbox, being able to rapidly prototype applications based off merely an idea of a conversation that I had an hour ago with some other entrepreneur, like the amount of control that they have in their master control systems, it's so dystopian, but it tastes so real, Matt. And I think that's the thing that's the most disconcerting out of this entire conversation is everything that you said in option number 3, that the AI overlords are already here. It's so real, I can taste it. And that's really sickening. It's like battery acid taste, if you know what I mean.
Because a part of me is like, okay, is Trump complicit in this? And then I'm thinking, well, I didn't see it. Maybe he doesn't either.
If he came down the elevator that The Simpsons created in a show 10, 12 years before he actually did it, man. I mean, isn't the movie scripted?
I don't.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I mean, people could not know. No one knew. I mean, I'm sure everyone watching. I can't imagine there's more than 2 or 3 people out of thousands of people that are watching this right now going, "Oh yeah, that was obvious." I don't think you exist. Because I've had this conversation, a handful of people the last 24 hours. Every single person's like, "Holy shit. Dude,
stop noticing."
What?
Stop noticing.
What?
You're gonna get us in trouble, Matt.
I have not one person like, "Yeah, of course, that's so obvious." No, I haven't run. Maybe you're there. Maybe you realize that was the psyop that we all missed.
It just shows that
if that's true, then maybe they don't know either.
All I know is I'm going to go home and I'm going to do a lot of research.
Yes.
Because I want to see the pictures of I want to see pictures of groups of people that are larger than what I have personally experienced walking out of a sports game. I've walked out of a sports game. I went to a Liverpool game over in the UK. A soccer match. I forget who the other team was. But dude, when I walked out of that stadium and I had the little thing that I bought with it, I forget what it's called. This was a decade plus ago. Like I thought I was going to die because in the UK when you exit out of a football match, a soccer game, like those guys are so hopped up on beer and adrenaline, and if you're not on the right side, you get your ass beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was surrounded by what, maybe 1,100, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe 500, people in this one area while I'm exiting, and it's just this mass of people and this energy. It's like, wow, I could get into some shit right now. And you're just walking along. You want to get to the subway and the tram, and if I'm thinking about this moment, I did have a moment of like, man, I feel scared for a second here. There's a lot of uncontrolled, like.
Don't be a bitch.
But understand my point. I could go through those replays in my mind. I can go through a UGA game that I left or a Georgia Tech game that I left 20 years ago. And again, in those experiences when I'm walking out with my homies and my friends, I've never seen any pictures the size of how many people I've walked out in my own experience of these games. So I feel like everything that you've brought up is completely disjointed from the reality that or the optics of which I've been sold.
Yeah, I
feel like I've been sold a game. They're like a bag of goods.
Governor Abbott put on buses and they shipped them to New York. They dropped them off. It was 4 buses. How many people fit on a bus?
50 people.
He shipped 200 people?
Yeah.
Once? Maybe twice?
But
where's the rest of them?
The show was good. It was a good show. Right? It was a good show. It was good. We saw it on the news. We saw it on CNN. We saw him walking off into Martha's Vineyard.
Maybe someone will go through all the footage and all the data and find it out, put it into a spreadsheet, be like, okay, here we found 20. Here we found 500. Here we found 1,000. Here's 5,000. Here's 10,000. Add it all up.
We need.
Maybe you'll get to 500,000.
we need a BX for immigration. We need someone like BX to do all that dirty research. Seriously. Yeah, $500,000.
Someone try to get me to 10 million. 10 million.
Guys, get us there. Get us to 10 million. Find us all the homies. Where are all the cholos at?
How much time do we have, Will? Looking.
It's 141.
It's 141.
No. How long have we been going?
120.
Oh. I think we get to the golden age next time.
Sure.
But I do want to read the tweet that got me thinking about it. Because Eric Trump, dude, this tweet got me messed up. Eric Trump tweeted and deleted this in 20 minutes. And this is what he said about the golden age. It's so concerning. Any and all who dare to defy the American Golden Age, heed this warning. You will lose. Toe the line or we will run you down. The gloves are off and we're not playing around this time. For now, it's tariffs. But trust me, we can and will do so much more. What kind? I don't even know how to describe that.
Well, as Will told me during lunch, when you're the emperor's son, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
We'll talk about it next week. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.